Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, crypto fam. And shall I dare say my stock family as well? It is Monday morning. Monday morning. Not a lot in terms of macro data this morning. We will have a couple of things coming up as we push into the midpoint of the week. You can see here on Wednesday, this is going to be our most important day right here. It's going to be Wednesday. We do have President Trump speaking on Wednesday. That's supposed to be at 9:30 a.m. Don't know why they consider it to be medium impact. Anytime he speaks, something more serious takes place. Okay, so we do have that. Got some core retail as well around the same time, and then about 2 p.m. per usual. We'll have federal funds rate. Right now, you can see that the expectation is that there will be no change. But given that we did have, a little hot CPI data come in, we don't know. We don't know for sure if that 3.75 is going to hold. We'll definitely see some market reaction taking place on Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. I know that, this will be Walsh first. First real speech here as Fed chair, and they'll be prepping all the way up here until Wednesday. So something to think about there. Something to think about there. Right now, Bitcoin is holding up pretty well. Here we did get this move out of nowhere. Well, I'm not say out of nowhere. I could see it coming, but I was in denial. Anyway, we're hitting the lows in here. So right here, you can see exactly what we're rejecting at right now. But once we get past these lows in here, that's really going to be key. When Bitcoin can get above here and flip this into support, it's going to put us above some major resistance. Major resistance, not just the lows in here, but if I take a look here, um, it's going to also put us back above our prior ribbon that we were holding in here. This is going to be our mean. I think this is a 112, I believe, right here. It's going to put us back above here. This is where we were previously holding support at in here. So, uh, very important, flipping above this level right here. In terms of the oscillators, I don't see any major catalysts in here right now. We do still have the bullish divergence presenting itself in here. Um, we're closer to a breakup than a breakdown. We've already covered, of course, the VWAP and all that good stuff and where we're actually holding support at through here. So the VWAP here with the prior highs back in 2021, that was our range. That was our range low so far. And of course, the ascending channel that's through here. So the channel right here. Very respected highs. And then, of course, you had the two taps in here. We did breach it a little bit, but hopefully that will continue to hold and we will continue to see price move higher. We just have to get past the resistance for one right now. On the lower time frame, Bitcoin, this is the move right here. This is the move right here. So I put a post out yesterday because I did take a short. I took a short in here. We were hitting I mean, we chopped our the entire time through here. It's probably gonna be better if I do it from a different time frame to really just show you. Looks like we're recovering back inside of this broken structure right here at the moment. So I have to move that. Put you over here. All right. So we've basically been we were chopping through here after getting this move up. We were hitting some major resistance in here also, and the VWAP was right here as well that we were rejecting from also, and we got a breakdown from this trend here. Let me do it. Makes it like that. So we got a breakdown from the trend right here. So I did take a short. Um, m- we ended up back testing on the triangle formation. I included that in the post that I did, but for me personally, I didn't see it as the most reasonable outcome at the time, and I expected for prices to come down a little bit lower. I was counting a five-wave move down, which we didn't get because we immediately swung back up. And then we got plenty of volume behind this move to the upside in here, except for this little chop suey that we're doing in here right now, as we are hitting value area low as well. Um, this is my resistance level in here. It's going to show up different if you're on like a blow thin chart. I do notice that. You'd be hitting it exactly without breaking through it the way that it is here. And then you have this VWAP right here. Just above, you do have the golden pocket, and then of course you have the top side of this channel in here. 4 hour is 4 hour is very toppy, in my opinion. The 4 hour is very toppy. This is what I was, yeah, this is exactly what I was watching right here. I posted it with this wedge structure in here. So yeah, I was looking for it to come down a little bit more. We did just only ended up holding. Let me do it like this for you so I don't have to drag out mine. But right here, you can see we only ended up just back testing the trend line here from the breakout and bouncing clean up off of it. I did not think that that was going to be the most probable outcome. I thought since it was the weekend and we were going sideways and we were in a bearish formation and we had the bearish dips on top, then maybe we would come back down to the bottom side of the range and then from here get the actual breakout. But that didn't happen. So I did give an update on that. And so now we're tapping this VWAP right here. If you needed this VWAP, look, I'm just dropping VWAPs at the pivots at the highs. So this is the VWAP right here off of this high pivot right here. The other one that I had originally had in here when we were chopping here before the breakdown was off of the high pivot right here. So you can see that this is the highest point right here in this section. This is the highest point. So I did that one. And then you can see where we were getting the resistance at. And then we got the breakdown from the rising structure that was in here. And we came back and we just absolutely blasted through that. So we'll see. We'll see how this holds up for now. Again, I do find that the 4 hour time frame is quite extended. And I will be looking for price action to look for more of a correction off of this. Um, this move to the upside. Maybe, let me see what I could be looking at. Mm, Give me just a minute to work something out. Yeah, I would say back into this inefficiency. That's what I would say. Back into this inefficiency is something that I would be looking for. Um, if we get it, maybe we won't get it. I don't know. Maybe we won't get it, but that is something that I would be looking for. And I'm saying that based on this part right here. Uh, there's some missing information in here that you can't see, but it is quite extended right here. It's quite extended right now. So I do expect for it um, to kind of roll over here. If it does just this center point right here, which is a mean reversion, then it would be a 20 SMA. So you will look for price action to simply come back into the 20 SMA. You want it to respect the 20 SMA. That's what I would be looking for BTC this morning. If I put on 20 SMA, um, show the 20. So the 20 comes in actually just kind of slightly above where this inefficiency lies at, but that would be your mean reversion in terms of this indicator right here, which is really overextended right here at the moment, really overextended. It doesn't have to give it to us anytime soon. It can give it to us when it wants to give it to us, but that is something that I am looking out for. So I would advise, you know, to put on the 20 SMA and look for price action to come back, and you want it to respect that. Right now, you do have the WAP here posing as resistance along with the lows in here. I'll put you over here. Along with the lows in here. Uh, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Um, volume range right here. So you're around the value area low, and then of course you have the point of control that sits in here. I am looking at this as a channel now. When I originally posted on it, we were breaking down right here, and I had it in more of a wedge structure. So what I did was I just went ahead and applied a channel in here, connecting the lows and just raising it up to this high right here. So this is the high that I'm using right now to see if we do push into here. We may even break out because I was saying that the next move up, once we do push higher, it would be the 382 Fibonacci retracement level. We were holding down right here around the 236. This is where we were rejecting from originally. You can see the wick off of the low right there from what I was showing you on the lower time frames. And so right now we're just pushing into these lows and chopping. Just we keep hammering at the lows, of course. Eventually you're gonna break it. You keep hammering it. There'll be nobody else that's looking to sell. There won't be enough sellers, and buyers will take over and manage to push this price up a little bit higher. Indicators still look pretty good here for the daily time frame. RSI continues to rise. It looks really, really nice in here thus far. You can see that we're already above our orange ribbon. So we're above our 40, and our 50 is right here adjacent to the 382 Fibonacci retracement level. And that's your upside right now. But again, like I said, once we flip this, like you'll be above the value area low, you'll be above the point of control. And then of course you saw what I showed you here on the weekly time frame. You're also going to be above this resistance and back above one of your high time frame ribbons, which was holding us up here before. You can see how we were holding support right around there as well. Um, before we got this breakdown this week from this low. So all roads lead to that. That is what I'm looking at today. So, low volume right now, but again, really good volume came out of this move right here. Some really good volume came out of this move right here. Actually, let me dare say, hold on, let me dare say back over here what I was saying on this 4 hour standard inefficiency. We may want to start here. So, you may want to start with looking at price coming back towards here. So that's 64.5, 45 right here. You may want to just look at this instead. But it should be something like this. Maybe you see a wick through that price level, but no closures below it because you want to see that hold. Um, you want to see that hold. And let me draw a fib on that. I just want to see what it would look like. Yeah, that would be a golden pocket too. Okay, so yeah, that's assuming that we don't go higher from here and we do get that pullback to kind of clean up this 4 hour time frame. So that'd be your point right there. All right. Oil. It was a deal, you know, the deals come and the deals go, so we'll see what how this holds up, but this was something that we were looking at earlier, last week. I posted on it. I told you that my bias was that this was actually gonna see a breakdown, be and I explained it to you, in videos last week as well, but we did get the breakdown. We came back up, almost testing back into that 87.59 there, and right now we're holding at the 80.20. Again, these levels have been phenomenal, for oil. They have held up and been respected throughout this entire top side range in here this entire time, but you can see where we got the bounce at right here. You can see how we came in and we respected it there, and now we're back here towards it. Now, earlier, what my idea was is it was here. Now, I would personally, if we can get it, maybe a back test on this trend right here, on this trend line right here. Maybe we could back test that. But right now, we are at a key area where we have seen price bounce that before. I can take this away for a second just to help with the visuals a little bit more. So we are at a place where we have seen price action bounce from here before. So $80.20. We'll see. Maybe something is going to change today. Maybe somebody's going to break the ceasefire. You never know. You never know where to roll with oil, especially once it gets to a level of support. So next level down is going to be the 75.29, but beyond that, then I would look for a back test on this breakout. I don't think that it actually comes back into here. You got this little gap in here, but I don't know that it'll actually come back into here or hit these low levels again. I think we might be set with this because I don't see that ending for good anytime soon. I really don't. I hate to say something like that because you want the best outcome, but we are at some support here for oil. All right, and then that makes me take a look over here at SPY. So for SPY, we are in the zone that I had been looking at for SPY. Last week I was saying to you that it was possible that we had hit the weekly low right here, but we did end up coming back down and sweeping that area, sweeping that low again. So a little bit off on that, but not bad, not shabby at all. Um, and I was looking for price action to get in here to this zone right here. I knew that we would get above here, above this pivot right here. Probably no higher than here is really what I was looking at, 753, but it just depends. It depends on what comes out of the mouths today. Um, yeah, what's said today will end up reflecting in the market. No macro data again, no macro data, so it's not gonna come from that. It would have to be some sort of a breach or something like that. It would have to be. But SPY so far, it's looking pretty good as it is pushing back into, well, as it is recovering quite a bit in here. Some other things that are recovering as well. I'm still not big on oil. I'm not oil, but gold just yet. He did get a bounce in here. It didn't quite hit this level in here. But you did get a bounce. It did gap up. It was having some issues right here around this trend line that it got this breakdown from. When I zoom out, I still just see what I see, and I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Um, but when I zoom out, let me take this away. I think it's safe to just go ahead and do away with that one too. Um, I don't know that I see a recovery just yet, but nice bounce for anybody who it just wasn't gonna be in my wheelhouse. It just wasn't gonna be in my wheelhouse. My thing was that it did have to reclaim the trend line, but, I still don't like it. Doesn't mean that it doesn't go higher because it doesn't matter whether I like it or not. I'm just not a fan of it, right now. Uh, that's a good catch right there. I do like that. I think that we did look at that on stream last week as well, but, I don't no, I don't like it. I personally I don't like it, but it did get really extended in here, so yeah, quite extended, quite overextended actually for a stronger push to the upside. We'll see how it behaves once it manages to get up to, let's just say, 4,532. We'll see how it behaves around there. It did have a couple of, struggles in that area right there. You can see it had a couple of struggles right here also, where you're attacking these lows and then it got rejected right here. But I think that it could potentially get into about 4,532. Most certainly, looking at the indicators, it look like it has room to do that much for sure. So oil, not looking bad. Not looking too bad. I don't I'm not getting into it, but it's not looking too bad. It's not looking too bad. See what Bitcoin is doing. Quick talking 'cause I know it'll move on me while I'm running my mouth. So that's that. Let me take a look at silver. I haven't looked at silver in a very long time. Very long time. I mean, it ain't look like silver just came back to where it was when we had this entry set up for silver. It did. Did it even take out this low? It didn't. Hmm. Right now, with silver, I mean, this prior support level could pose as resistance for silver. I would look for silver to push back up into the trend line in which it did get the breakdown from, and if it reclaims above that, then great. But silver is already pushing into some resistance. What I would personally care to see for silver is for silver to actually come down below that low there, possibly pushing into this ascending trend line in here. That's what I would like to see. Doesn't happen. It doesn't happen just because it's what I would like to see. But that would be in the cards for me. But another a double bottom basically here for silver because it did not take out that low. Let's see. Mm. And it even got pretty, you know, relatively weak in here. Well, no, not necessarily. About a 30. Okay, so, mm, I mean, it looks similar to the last time when it got the bounce over here. Everything looks the same, to be honest with you. I don't know that I have any takes for it. I would look to see how it reacts around that breakdown, though. I would watch out for that if you are in silver. Uh, copper, I haven't looked at copper in a minute either. Dun, dun. Copper thus far has not been able to get above the channel high in here. So if I put you like this, and you can see it. But copper continues to trade like within this channel, so it hasn't been able to break out of here effectively. Um, it hasn't really moved a whole lot, though. It hasn't really moved a whole lot. I don't know. Metals to me just don't look bullish. Like you guys can do what you want to do with that, but metals just don't look bullish in my opinion. I mean, I know that they've sold off quite a bit, but they pumped quite a bit as well. And I just don't see the bullish narrative behind metals whatsoever. Copper, silver, or gold. But you are seeing some sort of a reaction right now. So all I can do is just give you some levels and tell you to watch them because I don't see the bullish narrative um, for any of them. But nice bounce there nonetheless. USDT dominance has been continuing to roll over. I thought that we were going to hold right around the dotted line here, the dash line. It was where we were, we respected it before. But we are breaking down a little bit more in here. This still looks good, especially with the MACD. The MACD still looks nice over here for USDT dominance. Corrective is the posturing. It can continue to roll over just like this right here, but you will see some bounces in between. But so far, it only looks corrective. We're still above our mean as well. So if this was to turn up, then we would see it could let's see where that ribbon is actually at. So price, we want to see it break down below. It's actually below the support level. Okay, so prior resistance, now support potentially. So it's 8.236%. This is where you really want to see it lose this right here. And then maybe, just maybe this time this will actually work out. But for now, the first things first is going to be whether or not this is going to hold that support, or if we're going to be able to break below it, because it could just hold that support. And I like the fact that it lined up perfectly with the level in here as well. So it may just end up holding that support, which means Bitcoin won't get too much higher. What I was saying about Bitcoin earlier, that may be that may be the thing, which was maybe just the top side of this channel, something like that. That is where you probably meet with that point of control right there. If I put as I put my cursor over it and I measure out the wick, that does put it into the point of control. The 382 is there, but um, that point of control, that could be where we see a little bit of a reaction from at the top side of that channel right there. And we start to get that correction off of that 4 hour. I just know that 4 hour is going to correct. That's all I know. 4 hour looks crazy. It looks crazy. And check out Ethereum. Looks just like Bitcoin. Get rid of that. Of course, with Ethereum, these levels haven't changed. They're all the same. An area of resistance could be that 1794 for Ethereum. If Bitcoin pushes up and then Ethereum decides to push up as well, that's somewhere that I would be looking at. I'd be entertaining some resistance there. I really need to see if I need to update these levels because I haven't done so, and been the same ones all from last year. I think I had updated them one time last year. And then that was it. But that is where I will be looking, just around this low right here, 1794 for Ethereum. And take a look on a different time frame. Actually, let me put this back on Bitcoin, then I can take a look on a different time frame. Take a look from here. So not a lot of progress, to be honest with you. It looks like we've made a lot of progress on the lower time frame, but really not too much progress. We're gonna be coming back into the resistance right here. Back into the resistance right here. Is that about the same number that I said before? 1750. That's 1750. Let me check that one more time. It's 1794. So a little bit off there. Um, but once Ethereum can reclaim back above this trend line where it got the breakdown, and like I said, it was the first time Ethereum actually closed below it. So that's the thing for me. It's the first time it actually closed below it. When I do it like this, you can see how it was drawn out to respect the line bias, and it actually closed below at that time. So um, I would expect for you to have some struggles right here. It'd be great if you don't, and it just absolutely reclaims back into it. Um, but it looks like a trouble spot, in my opinion. And that is this full wedge structure, with the exception of this, which is why it's like that. So the wedge structure right here. If it rejects, then you know you got some problems. But right now, like I said, Ethereum has never taken out a major low. Historically, it's never done that. Um, Things can change, and they will from time to time, but it has never taken out a macro low. And so that bounce from VWAP seemed to be a good place to get in. Maybe you have a little bit of a struggle right here. It's just something to be aware of. Hopefully, it just breaks straight through it and reclaims back above it, and happy days, and price starts to push higher. Beyond that, I would check out the lows across here. The same way Bitcoin is reacting at its lows, I would expect something like that from Ethereum also. That is about the center point of this range also. So just watch out for that on your weekly time frame. Something I haven't actually looked at in a minute. I don't know if it's gonna come up with all of my levels from let's see. My stuff shows up here. Okay. It does. It's been so long since I've actually looked at this chart. I can't even remember why I did these boxes and stuff like that. Haven't looked at this since sometime last year or something like that, I believe. No, but just like that, it also against Bitcoin, you see a little breakdown right here. Not too far off of that zone though, but a little small breakdown there. I need to see why. I don't know why. Okay, so they are war levels. They are weekly average ranges. So they're very respectable levels, something I wouldn't have to change. I just don't know why I did this right here. I guess I'm looking at um, what it would take to continue with that. This could be a higher low. For all I know, this could be a higher low. And Ethereum's getting ready to rip against Bitcoin. You can't say that it's not. So far, it is. Let me just put a fib on this. And so it's a golden pocket. If it were see, if it were to drop lower, then it would just come back to the top side of, the weekly level here. That's 22.53. So it would just come back into there, but this is probably a higher low, and Ethereum's getting ready to, ascend against Bitcoin. So that looks pretty good. It actually looks pretty good. And this looks corrective. Corrective here. Actually looks corrective. Let me just get rid of these boxes, whatever reason they're there for. But this does look quite corrective. So could be looking for some sort of a low to be held in here, and then I can't say that that's the exact low, but I can come in here and fix this later. But let's pretend. Let's just pretend. And that'll put it back up here to the very last box that I have in here for wave for wave 3. We'll see. I'm gonna leave this just like this and then check back on it some other time. But Ethereum could be looking good against Bitcoin here. Really could. I know Ethereum is, well, never mind. Never mind what I was about to say. But not shabby. Not shabby at all. All right, let's see if there's some trouble to get into. This is gonna become a lot more flat. I don't have a choice but to move it though, because we didn't have any respect for it. So obviously we're squeezing right here, which is why we're holding this range sideways through here, chopping around the previous day high with the liquidity, not liquidity, but the volume declining because we're squeezing. I'm trying to eat my breakfast at the same time. What market do you trade the most? Well, I don't trade. Well, I very seldomly do I trade stocks. I invest. I invest in the stock market. So if I had to say with trading, it would be crypto. See if we can't find some trouble to get into here. If you can get a pullback, which my bias right now is that we do get this pullback, then we can look for the long. I am still holding my long position. That's something else that I said in my post. I am still holding my long, but I did take this short right here. I did take profit, partial profit right in here, and I got stopped out of the rest of it. It was so funny because I just did the freaking post, and as soon as I did the post, a few minutes later, here we come just blasting back up here, taking the remainder of the position away from me. So that was hilarious. Anyway, take a look at Zcash over here. Last time we were looking at Zcash, I had closed out my Zcash long as we were getting the breakdown from here. I closed out my Zcash long. But look how we just held, and kept seeing this yesterday too. I was like, "Man, we're still holding in here. Like, when is something gonna change?" But ever since we got that breakdown over here earlier last week, we have just been, was it last week or was it how long did we stay in here? Yes, it was last week, but we just held the weekly range low because I was looking for us to at least come back down. Ooh, I'm getting real country right now. I was looking for us to at least come back down to this one right here, but we just straight up sideways held, and then yesterday when Bitcoin did what it did, Zcash broke out. So I don't think Zcash is gonna be coming back down like that. I don't. 'Cause I was looking for this to be a 4 and a 5 come in. So I was looking for us to come back down. And I was saying like maybe right, well, we would actually have to take out that low, of course. So I said 200. That's what I said. I said 200. So I was looking for it to actually come back down here and get into here. But that didn't happen. Just held in here and boom. See it on a 4 hour. Yeah. But you know Zcash, once it gets going, it gets going. Like that's all she wrote. Once it gets going, it gets going. And then Hyperliquid, oh my gosh. I posted on Hyperliquid yesterday. So this is what I said on Hype. I said, okay, so I can see that Hyperliquid completed the wave 5. I said I can see where my error was in here when I was looking for it to come down a little bit lower right here. I didn't put on my extension. You know, I love to put on my fib extension when I'm doing a wave 5 and I look for price action to come back into the golden pocket. I didn't put on my fib extension. I put on a fib retracement, which is why I never gets hit for one. And I'm looking a little bit lower down. I don't have my weekly levels on right now, but I was looking a little bit lower down, something like this right here. I think it was something like this. So it doesn't get hit and I don't get put into the trade. So then I'm like, okay, well, we're in the middle of the ABC correction. So what I said in the post yesterday is very possible that B is already in. That B may have been the 50% retracement. You can follow me on X and see that post. So I said that it may have already did a wave 5, a B wave, and it could have been a 50% retracement, which would have been this right here. And that if you see price action come up and break above this trend, then it's automatically going to take out wave 4. We're here now. I said, but if that doesn't happen, then I'm gonna look to enter on it around the golden pocket, possibly 786, but golden pocket, because you can see where I got it at. I'm gonna look to enter around here for a possible inverse head and shoulder, and then we come up and we take out that fourth wave. Well, you can see I didn't get in, and it it ended up just breaking through the trend line. And the reason why I was also looking right here at this trend line is, let me show you. Well, the reason why I was looking at this golden pocket zone right here as well is I created myself some confluence. So I'm like, okay, maybe like this. And then if I do it like this, and then if I drop in my center, then that'll put it right here, and then I can look for a bounce away right there. Didn't happen, didn't happen, did not happen, and this is a perfect parallel. I saw this as a parallel also, so I was like, "Okay, I could probably get in right there if it doesn't break this trend line." I wasn't gonna enter even with the break, I was not gonna enter. I just need a better entry for Hyperliquid. I just need a better entry, and that just wasn't gonna do for me, so, eh, I guess I can get rid of all of this now. But that was our 5 wave move to the downside, and then, of course, this ended up being the B wave right here. What you have in here instead of, this is the golden pocket retracement. This is also a one-to-one, um, on the ABC, so let me show you that. That's your one-to-one. That's a one-to-one. So I knew it would come in here and take out 4. A lot of times it will take out 4 anyway, but yeah, that was what to look for, in here. Sadly, that I couldn't get the B down here, but I couldn't get the B down there. I couldn't get it. I just wanted to leave it here so I can explain it to you, so you can understand, the post and all of that good stuff. But that is your one-to-one into your golden pocket and all that goodness. I don't think Zcash I mean, not Zcash, but Hyperliquid is gonna come back. Again, like I kept saying, I think height from looking at it on the higher time frame is still in a wave 5. It's still trying to complete 5 waves, and it hasn't done that yet on the macro. It hasn't done that yet on the macro. So far on the macro, the only thing you've managed to see is, let me put on the daily where I wanna be. We did this leading diagonal, which tells me that there are more waves in here for this, and this more than likely gonna take out this high and push straight up through here. Like more than likely, that's what I think. That's why I kept trying so hard to keep entering the longs. Then I just gave up. Like I'm just not gonna get a bad entry. I'm just not gonna take the bad entries. Even when it's all the way up here, I'm still gonna look at. Eventually, I'll stop looking at it like a bad entry and be like, "Girl, you could have just taken that." But uh, it doesn't matter. And then you see this hold on, what is this line right here? Oh, that was from, something else. Let me get that out of here. But you see this right here? Let me see. You see what else? And I posted this too. It's like, you see that other freaking confluence? So our big channel that we have, that's the midpoint of that channel right there. It's like, God dang, why did I have to slip up? Why did I have to slip up and draw things wrong? Yeah, I think it's gone. I think it's gone. Imma get rid of all of this too. I think it's gone. I don't know how I did not draw my fib extension because I know that we drew, the 382 50% retracement level right there, as you saw. I was looking forward to get into that 50 for the rejection. I don't know how I messed up and didn't get it right afterwards. Don't know how I did it, but I did it. I did it. So now it's gone. Gone. If there are some bears in here, of course, as I think that they're just gonna be making a fool of themselves trying to short it if it gets up here. I just say hype is just gonna break above all of this. Like it's like inflows are amazing for hype. So once hype does get going, not saying that you can't see a pullback for a higher low from this point because you can see a pullback and get a higher low to start that next wave up, that next wave which is gonna, you know, send it. Send it. Let's just say that this is a wave 4. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. Mm, gotta figure out how I wanna draw this out. That's gonna be the thing. Forgive me for chewing in your face. No, that's not right. Mm, be honest with you, I don't know how to do it. Mm, I don't know where to start with it because of this. I don't know where to start with it because of that. So I'd rather wait until it does put in a higher low off of this correction, puts in a higher low, and then I'll draw an extension on it. 'Cause I see it at least in the hundos somewhere. That's why I see it. At least in the hundos somewhere. Weekly, we did get to break the momentum here on the weekly, so I don't want you to um, miss that. We did get the break of the momentum here on the weekly. But with that said, you haven't put in a div, and that div is going to come once price gets above here. So I do expect price action to push up and get above this level right here, and then you start to see your bear div in here, and then the weekly might roll over from there. But I expect to see something like that. So give it some time, peeps. Lots of strength showing in this chart. Lots of strength. I love the way the RSI is looking. Love that. 73. Lots of strength. Alright. Something else I want to see. Probably those triple V's. I'm gonna have to look at it from this one though. Let me see what that's looking like. Not a fan. I'm not a fan. Okay. The V's could be a big rounding top. And Bitcoin just pushed back up. Um, Bitcoin is hammering at that top. It continues to hammer away at it. Eventually, it will break it. You might feel a need to get there first. Hold on, I gotta look at this. I'm sorry. You might feel a need to do all of that first before it gets that correction, but that 4 hour is cooking. The price action on the 15-minute time frame. 15-minute time frame is the one that's really been giving all this price action, to be honest. It has been this time frame where you can see that volume come in. You can see it's been resetting like rather rapidly. You can just see it reset. MACD maintaining above zero to hold it up. breaking the trend line in here, the continuation to the upside, and probably something in here too. Yeah, overextended in here on the 15-minute time frame, just like it was over here when I wasn't expecting for it to do all of that. Expecting for it to break up, but reject around the 382 50%, but it didn't do that. So yeah, 15-minute. It's been doing a lot. It's the one in the 4 hour that's looking to cool off. It's just not happening. So can't pressure it. And I said we got the targets to the upside. If it does push up, I won't be doing anything in here. I'm still holding my long position. Um, I need clarification on the short. 'Cause if it desperately wants to push up instead of breaking down, I probably would do it. Yeah, you do it from over here so it's not sticking. May have to let it prove itself. You need some sort of a wick reaction or something to even consider it. I wouldn't limit into anything like this. You need to get the reaction first because it may decide it wants to break through it first and then come back down. That could be the thing. So, and I would not be looking for all of that to be honest with you. Maybe like a 3. And it really all just depends. It would start to invalidate um, this right here. And I wouldn't be looking for, you know, a humongous move. I wouldn't be like, yeah, we're gonna break down below here and do it. Yeah, I wouldn't be looking for that. But maybe it wants to do that first because it keeps hammering away at it. So it could be something like that. It could be. Let's see what this highest point right here is. Yeah, it could be something like that. We shall see. Oh boy. Oh boy, boy, boy. And if it's not gonna be that, then I'm gonna hold out and I'm gonna add to my long position this time. Hmm, something will need to pull back. Looking at Ada yesterday, um, It could have bottomed. It could have bottomed. I'll show you that real quick while Bitcoin. Put it on a daily. So I was looking at this, even though it didn't actually tap right here, ADA could have bottomed out. Let me see, putting it on a, let me take that away. Let me put it on a weekly time frame. So I'm just paying attention to, okay, so I didn't draw out this weekly one, but you see that pivot right there? I probably, I may actually have the weekly pivots, but just didn't bother to turn them on. But I was looking at that and I was like, this is the monthly right here. The grayed out one is the monthly. But I'm thinking that ADA may have, it could have bottomed right there. If it does drop lower than this, then I would look towards this one right here. Look towards the monthly and the weekly. Let me see if I actually have. I got some weekly pivots in here, but I don't know if I don't know how I no. So I don't need this. I don't know what this is in here for. This isn't showing me anything. You can get out of here. Yeah. So yeah, this pivot right here, pivot right there. And then if it happened to spill over any extra, then I would be looking right there. I don't know what happened right in here. It wouldn't have been as reactionary anyway. But you may have hit a low and you're not going to go any lower. And then ADA will start to see some recovery in here. Just something to bear in mind with ADA. I know a lot of people just really got hurt behind this situation. Turn off my monthly and I'm gonna leave those two pivots on it. But it's just a thought that it may have. This is the historical floor. So you can see it actually swiped it. You can see it actually swiped it and reclaimed back above it rather quickly. So I need to stop saying floor. I need for it to read base. Told myself to take away that word and just use base. So it did come back down here to the base and you can see it pivoted off of that base as well as that weekly level right there. So it could be that that low is in. And again, like I said, if it's not, then I would look down here. You still want to see a break and reclaim. It would have to do that again. It would have to reclaim back on this base right here. But that could have been your low for Cardano. Just keep that in mind if you're a Cardano lover. Um, and then let me check on AVAX because I know that this was one um, that I harped about and it ended up rolling over quite a bit. Oh, it's so low. 621. So, it this case in this case, all I really have to use in this case is this body high. This body high. I don't know if that body high actually worked, but it would have been this body high. Eh, so I don't really have anything else in here. I would have to see this. I mean, it would make sense probably from another time frame. Um, I mean, there's some things are just not doing as well. But let me see. Let me just maybe it has to. I don't know if it has to. Then I guess I would include this wick right here for a zone. Uh, but maybe this one don't need to. I don't see where it needed to break it right here. It didn't. It bounced away right there. Um, this was the closest we had come prior right here. And even over here, I mean, actually, this is the one I just drew it off of. So, I mean, if I went with this one, then I can say I could see the break and reclaims on it. Um, Let me hide that for a second and let me do this. I do it like that off of this very first bottom, and then I go with a break and a reclaim. You could do it like that. And so still just looking forward to for that momentum to come in because it's very petty in here right now. It's very petty at this point. So do want to see momentum turn back up here on the weekly time frame if you go with it like that. If you go with it that way instead. I like to see things break first, and then that way I can tell that there's a change happening personally. That's what I like to see. Um, but the other way was fine too. But you can see more character from it this way. You see a lot more character from it. Usually it just let you click on the inside. And this one's like, no, 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 no clicking, no clicking. It's just a big question mark for me. Let me put it on the inside. Just a big question mark. bearish divergence is not gonna make it go down because right now this 15 minutes is bullish as crap. So every bull dip is gonna play out. Mm, that spread is ridiculous. Mm. Oh well. In other news, back on C cash over here. See cash continuing to pump. It's at 522 right now. Looking strong. Yep. SPY continuing to push up. SPY continues to push. Coming into market open. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of other things in here as well. Most of your semis have already recovered quite well. AMD recovered quite well. It only got a 1 and a 4 hour expansion. So I put when I did examine it last week, I put an alert for anything that came down into here. But yeah, capped out right before that. So it's already back up here towards the highs. So that's looking good. Intel, we looked at this. I posted on this one. We got to drop into this box and it's still continuing to do good. So what's that? I don't really get into Qualcomm, even though it's a great one, and so is ARM Technology. Both really good ones. Apple. Hmm, what's going on with Apple? Let me get that onto there. Looks like I can get rid of some lines, right? And get rid of some pivots. Okay, just still reacting from where it came into the extension level here. Um, I mean, it'd be nice to see Apple come back down to 78. Do we get it? I don't know, but, that would be nice. If not that, and I wanted to come back to this trend line. Nothing to really talk about right now. It is still correcting. Did give this level right here in advance since we were looking for the extension into the usual suspect, which is the golden pocket extension there. So yeah, if it pulls back, then I would want to see it come back to 278 any further. Let me see down here. I don't think that that line belongs to that. Okay, it could be at a place where it's done. It could be at a place where it actually considered itself to be done. Looks like we might have bounced off of the red ribbon. The red ribbon. Um, yeah, we did. The red ribbon right here. Don't really want to see it go below this point then. So don't count on that other number that I gave you, which that pivot is 278. You don't want to see the 278. 278 means that the RSI moves into some relative weakness on that weekly time frame. Even here on the daily, actually on the daily time frame, it really moves into some relative weakness. So you don't want to see that. So from here, yeah, you want to see MACD be able to hold. MACD right now is still above the zero line, and that will start to change if it does lose that 287 there. You can see it right here. It will start to change that if it. Now this is set to something else. I need to fix that because this is not the setting. So I will come back in and I will fix that. I don't like to. Let me jump on Bitcoin and then I'll come back in and I'll take care of that. Bitcoin is pushing up into the level right now, into this at least. Let me take this off of here. The source code is wrong. Okay, got that fixed now. All right. We're coming to that golden pocket right about now. Pushing through that VWAP. Looks like we're trying to expand, accelerate a lot harder. This is a short squeeze because there's no way that 4 hour is as bad as it is. Um, it's a short squeeze, plain and simple. 嗯 I would still be careful right now. Still be careful. 4 hour looks like the daily did when the daily sold off um, heavily. General Generally for me, it's the low and the high. The rest of it is just a gray area, but it's generally the low and the high. Those are the 2 points of, support and resistance. I just like to shade it. Let me check and see if I got any other information in here on anything. Uh, let me see. Nope, nothing new there. Okay. Mm, I didn't tell you, but that call option that I did on Bitcoin, right? When the week came to an end, it did not reach my level. I ended up closing it out that day. So I didn't lose everything, but I did still take a loss on it. I was looking for it to do what it's doing now. I only gave myself a few days for it to take place. So I know when I opened it, I probably gave myself like 5 days for it to happen, and it didn't happen. So I took a little bit of an L on that option trade. Came close, came close to tapping it, but all bark and no bite. Now you can see all the money that you can be making off of it right now. Looking at the delta at the time, even though I was like right on top of my strike price, the offer was terrible. I think it was like 14 cents per share. Like that's how crappy it was. It was like really, really bad. Right now I'd be sitting pretty, but mm, it's like dang, even with it sitting on top of my strike, it was like you're just not gonna make it. You're just not gonna. You're gonna lose either way it goes. Like it had to move so far away from it, and now we're there. Now we're there. Mm, mm, mm. I mean, once we get past all of this, all of these walls, I mean, because we're pushing, like, we're reclaiming. I gotta check out SpaceX. Let me check out SpaceX. It's gonna help a lot too. I did share that with you, that SpaceX. Put this on 15-minute chart here. Uh-oh. The more SpaceX sells off, the more that's gonna help, because of the derivatives using the USDT, using Tether. So as SpaceX sells off, that money's gonna rotate back into Bitcoin. Right now, 169 isn't bad for it, but it looks like it's gonna get some more downside. But as that starts to roll over more, that Tether will go into things like Bitcoin. I guess the only thing that would be, you know, a hinge cliff would be if it rotates into gold, because you have gold on Tether as well. So, yeah, if you can stay away from these two, gold and SpaceX with the Tether, then that money will go into Bitcoin. Just mess around with this 15-minute until more information comes. And just trying to pay attention to how each one behaves against each other right now. Just kind of eyeballing them. But that expansion looks like it might continue up on Bitcoin. Yeah, that Bollinger Band expansion, boy. That tightening we're seeing right through this range right here. Take that away. Take that away. I don't actually want to use that. I could use it, but I don't want to use this. But that range that we were in here doing, I could tell we had that expansion in here with that low volume and all that good stuff. And yeah, it would have to come back into. I hate to take it off of that. That's just me being anal. I want to extend the line out. I just need to make sure that I did a good job with it. Yeah, all of that consolidation, that range break to the upside. So here you can see it will continue to expand if it's not coming back inside of this range right here. They got the breakout from. They have to bounce away from there and just continue up. Uh, but golden pocket reaction again. Little golden pocket reaction towards the top side of the channel in here. For now. For now. It's like every time I find a VWAP, it's like, not. This was the last one we were using was this one right here where we kept, well, we had this range right here where we had these pivots right here that we kept rejecting from. But we had VWAP here also, right there, going across where you see that trend line that there. I really wanted this one to be it because, well, this right here, I really wanted that to be it since this was the one where we got the breakdown. Like that was the last high made before we broke down below this. But 191, that's well above where that 382 is located at. We'll put this one back. We'll put it back. I'm just gonna change the color on it and make it red. Okay. Oh boy, boy, boy. Oh, she wants is another baby. Oh, she wants is another baby. Hmm. We've already got a back test on this. So I'm gonna drop that. I don't need that anymore. I do still need this, but for now, I don't need it. For now, I don't have to have it. Let me put it like that. I don't have to have it. Let me just follow my momentum from here. Well, the RSI on this time frame still looks fine. A little back test and bounce away. Also, um, it's not a crazy RSI. It will get there. Obviously, it will get there. It's this part that bothers me right here. And it's not that it hasn't been further away from its, 100. It's not that it hasn't been further away from the, channel. It's not that. It's the signal line that's bothering me. It is the signal line that's bothering me. It's not too often it's not too often that that signal line, exceeds the channel. It's exceeding the channel right now, which is very similar to, like, that sell-off that we got on the daily time frame. Like, I knew that that was something that I could, count on, but right here on the implied, you can see the signal line is all the way away from the channel itself. Usually that's indicative of a reversal. It doesn't tend to linger too far, too long outside of that. Like it was outside of it right here. You can see how we kept on rolling over. Even when we did come back into it, we did continue to roll over. We didn't get that on the daily because once it happened on the daily, it came back in. Usually you see some sort of a reaction from within here. Momentum is still maintaining a trend. So you have your trend regression line right here. That's still being maintained. Um, that freaking bounce yesterday. I wanted this to break. I really wanted it to break. But dun, dun, dun. I really need for the RSI to turn back in. RSI really needs to turn back in. It's like I knew yesterday I couldn't take that short, really until the RSI turned back in. So want to see it turn back in. It still looks good for now. Still looks good for now. Want to see that turn back in, but I don't like that. I don't like this right here. So if you were witnessing it on the daily, this is what it looked like when we got outside of it on the daily, right before we got our bounce. So you don't have to have that. That's helpful, but you can see what it was like. It was all the way down here right before we got that recovery there, and it was the same thing right over here right before we got that recovery. Right before we got the recovery right to here. So this, when it does that, you have to move it. So that would have been the next time that it actually pushed back inside of it right there. But that was pretty extended, pretty extended out. But right now, this looks good. This, my friends, looks good for now. For now. I don't think I have any structure on this 4. I don't have any structure here. All I can do is just wait for some sort of a breakdown because I don't have any structure. So all I can do is wait for some sort of a breakdown because I don't have any. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the same. What am I saying? Yeah, all I can do is wait for a breakdown, which means that RSI would likely have to be leaving strength. RSI has to leave strength, and right now it's still holding up. It's extended, undoubtedly extended, but that's fine. Uh, MACD looks good. It looks good. positive MACD. Everything's positive here. It's still extended though, for some sort of a correction. They're gonna squeeze the crap out of this price action. They're gonna squeeze crap out of it. And I wanna be able to add to my long. My long is doing okay. Long is all right. Ooh, no. I wanna show that. Whatever that was. The long is all right. I wanna add to it, and 'cause I've taken 1 TP off of it. 1 TP. I would have added there if I'd expected it, but I was looking for it to come back to the bottom, towards the bottom of the triangle, and it had to bounce. Hmm. Let's see where I originally was stopping this out at. I'd rather keep it where it is. I'll do it like that to make it easier to read. Like we coming back in. It's not worth trying to take a short until it gets up there. So again, I would just kind of wait. That's all I can tell you. It's 7:46 right now. Market isn't going to really do too much more while I'm here. I would look for that push up into here, into the point of control, into VWAP. Maybe it chooses to get through that. If it does, then 382 Fibonacci retracement. Some place that I would be looking at it coming back to. I think that this is still like your mean reversion is going to be the 382. I do believe that is still the mean reversion. Even if it's close enough, it's close enough. Yeah, it's still your mean reversion. Here's your mean reversion right here at the 68,191. That is your mean reversion. So I would look through here between, I have it up above here. I would wait for a good candle reaction. First of all, maybe zoom out to a lower time frame. Just take that whole thing and just plot it over on a lower time frame and zoom out and look at it. Let me Guess I don't have a lot of stuff on my what I do. I think I already have it. Yeah, I already still have it. I'm gonna take away my previous day. I don't really need it right now. Take that away. Is that where I drew that fib from, and then I draw it from down there? Well, actually, let me just do this one. That's a long ride. That is a long ride. So I know that I'm looking to short somewhere between here with the wick. I want to see it take all of this back. Somewhere between there and here. That's what I'll be watching for today. Somewhere between there. VWAP. I'm gonna go with the VWAP as it is on the daily time frame as well. Going with the VWAP as opposed to the point of control in here because I'd be looking for it to at least wick through here. And if it's not that, then it'll be something like this 382 Fibonacci retracement zone right here would be the level. Um, I would think that the 4 hour would give up something from there, but even if it's not this much, it would be a situation where you just want a TP um, at least 1-to-1 TP. And if the long happens to be a thing that happens first, of course, you're gonna want it to continue to hold the value area low, right? I was looking in here a little bit lower down towards, these highs in here, uh, but on the long side, it could be that to here is what I would think on the long side if it were to give the long setup first. It doesn't look like it wants to give a long setup first. This 15-minute is smoking though. This 15-minute is smoking shorts. That's why I said in that post last night that, you were seeing some sort of a reaction off of the value area low, but it's better to just wait. That's why I said it's better to just wait because that was a lot of volume that came in. The volume is picking back up. Pick back up again with that move. So I know that if the daily was to push beyond that mean, it's gonna get volatile. It's gonna get really volatile to the upside. If that daily manages, because that's the what it's gonna be coming into hitting is an extreme volatility band or signal line. It's an extreme volatility signal line. If it taps that first, then that's where you see the larger candles come in at. So and that will be right here. So if it gets here and it doesn't look like it's slowing, you don't want to be in the way of that. You're gonna want to forget it if that happens because that is an acceleration point. That is a then it, that acceleration point right there. Looking at that daily time frame, that is an acceleration point. So to be like, I'll give you an example. It'll be like here, right here. When price action moves through this one that I don't have on, like you don't see it over here. The read's implied right now because I switched them around. But when it comes through this right here, when it comes through this, that's where you tend to get this kind of candles. And you'll end up getting that on the daily. You can see again right here. Like when it comes to that, that's when you tend to get these crazy ass these crazy candles happen. When this is the only thing it has to hit is this right here. You'll get a crazy candle. It's supposed to be the Excel one, but I switched them around. But that's what you're coming to on the daily time frame at that 382. So just letting you know that in advance that you could see some sort of an accelerated pump through that. Maybe price action is choppy at one point, coming up to that 50, and then it breaks out above that 382 extension. And I'm sorry, 382 retracement, and you just get a god candle out of nowhere. Okay, so I don't know what's going to happen today. I'm trying to be patient right now. I feel like we're extended and I want a short. I'm being patient and just sticking with my long position for now. Um, but I will be looking to take a short position depending on if markets get here and how it looks. Might get one more little dip here on this 15-minute time frame. You'll get it with declining volume more than likely, but it looks like it might be preparing for one more little dip unless it decides to squeeze some more from here. Uh, Before it breaks down, maybe it decides to chop a little bit. But it's 8 o'clock. I appreciate you for being here. Again, this is what I'll be watching for. Not It's not an instant entry. I have to see how price action reacts around the level before I make a decision, and taking profits will come earlier than waiting for it to get here. This is just something to hope for. If you catch a runner, you wanna at least, you get into some profits, go ahead and take some off the table, move stop loss to entry, all of that good stuff. So if it does decide to keep going, you're not caught up in a mess because 15 minute. This is how we started the last time, with that rally that we had on the daily time frame from that 60,000. It started with the 15 minutes RSI staying in 70. Like RSI kept popping into 70, and we just kept going and kept going and kept going. Like that was the first clue that the charts had more of a bullish bias. That was the first narrative for that. I remember I tweeted on it too. I said, "This isn't a bear market RSI. It's the bull market RSI." And from there, we just stayed going up on off of that 15 minute. You just see us continuing to grind higher from there. And then all of the time frames started to do the same thing. So far, it's just been the 15-minute time frame. 1 hour has not been relatively strong as the 15 minute. It has not been as relatively strong as the 15-minute, but it's done pretty well. Like 76 isn't bad. Usually I like to see it get outside of that, um, up until about a 80, something like that. But you can definitely see it off of this 15-minute. Like you can see it off of this 15-minute undoubtedly with the bear div, but it keeps grinding higher. It keeps grinding higher. So stay on your P's and Q's for the bullish divergence. It's not telling you to ignore the bear divs. You want to pay attention to them, but your biggest thing is going to be your bullish divs. Your bullish divs is going to play out over any bearish divergence you see, especially when you're trending like this. So right now it looks like we back, baby. It looks like we back. It looks like we back. This might be that 15-minute correction I just mentioned to you. But anyway, I've got to go. It's going to be a little bit of a correction. Maybe we break down below this trend line right here. Maybe. But I wouldn't expect too much. Maybe just back down here to this lower line right now. It looks like it wants to give a little bit of a correction here on this 15-minute time frame. Looks like it wants to. Bear div on the 1 hour too. But again, bull divs is what you're going to want to pay attention to in this environment. So when you see them, just go ahead and draw out your trend. And once your trend line breaks, that's your entry. I'm not right now. I just need for this to cool off. I need for it to cool off. It hasn't pulled back enough for me to want to add to my long position. But if you're somebody who doesn't have a position and it won't affect you, then looking for the bullish divergence is going to help you a lot in making your decision to take a long entry. With that said, I love and appreciate you, and I will see you tomorrow. Good morning, Wild Crypto YT. I'm just getting ready to go to. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I did myself. Um, yeah. It looks like we back. It looks like we're back to some bullishness, some straight up bullishness. And once we get past this little hurdle of resistance, ooh boy, ooh boy, we're already back above the value area low. So that's one good thing right there. Back above the value area low. Um, got the point of control coming in right here, and got VWAP right here. I'm really looking for a 382. But as I was just explaining, that 382, you could see a sharp push out of that 382, like a big candle come through, especially if you see it chopping before it reaches that 382. You see it chopping before, something like this, before it hits this 382. That's an acceleration point for that daily time frame. That's going to be an acceleration point. I don't know if all that happens today, but it's definitely an acceleration point for that daily time frame. Just blast up through here. But it was a pretty decent call on the pretty decent call right in here. Pretty decent call. So I got nothing. If you I got nothing right now. I sit on my little position and let it do what it can do. Once it clears for the monthly time frame, it's more like this right here. For the monthly time frame, it's more like that. And then of course for the weekly, you can see that it's right there, and you can of course see that we're above it right now. So that's what it is. Doesn't look like this that big of a difference. It kind of is though. It sort of is. Mm, yeah, just getting above it. All right, I gotta run. Love and appreciate you. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If something comes up, I will post on it. But right now, that's all I know that I'll be looking at today. If price action continues to push higher, somewhere around the, I'm not really comfortable with the point of control, to be honest with you. I prefer the VWAP. And then of course the 382. The 382 is going to be the biggest thing again because that's going to be your mean reversion on your daily time frame. So once we get above the mean, then we do start to move into relative strength. Likely, I mean the weekly time frame will have reclaimed back above that moving average there, the one that was supporting us up before. After we got the drop into 60, we started to hold on to that and bounce away. So above those points, like it's an easy trip back up to back test where we got the breakdown from. Ooh, that's an easy trip back up to back test those. That's when you start to look for more like your um, that 71 that I mentioned before, 78, 82, those kind of levels like that. And then, of course, the back test is where we got the breakdown from. That's more so around 90. I know those numbers just seem like they're far fetched right now, like it's the bottom end or something like that. It doesn't make the bottom be in, but I mean, we got that bullish div on the weekly time frame, and also the weekly is very close to actually breaking out of weakness into neutrality. So um, just, yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. They said that it's a strong possibility right now that that could be. That could have been. I haven't seen any bullish divergence on the daily. If I question anything, it's the fact that we haven't had any bullish divergence on the daily, but we did have it on the 4 hour. We saw it on lower time frames from that, and then we also see it on the weekly time frame. So, um, yeah, I mean, this month could be a different month. This month we could close above the mean this month, which means we don't go lower than what we put in, which could all make sense. It could all make sense. But more on that later. SpaceX is trying to push up right now. Uh, it did get that little drop. When we was looking at it, it was sitting right in here. So it did get that drop into that pivot right there. Got a nice little candle wick underneath it. So now it's trying to push up. I would watch for the one to the top side now, that 173 here for SpaceX. Um, it has to get back above here. I think this is what pushed it in. Yeah, that's what pushed it in. That what pushed it in. Yeah. So reclaims back above here where it's kind of struggling a little bit. So it reclaims back above there. I would start to look at 173. You don't have a lot to work with, so that's the best that I could come up with was to look at those majors to the left for price action and everything over here. I wouldn't draw any pivots off of anything over to my right. I would go with whatever was the most recent from the up to the down. And it really didn't have anything but that down, that up, and then what's in here. So that's what I went with. And that's what I expect for price action to respect in the time being on SpaceX. That's my thoughts on that. Go down. Holding support though. So we'll see what's gonna come out of somebody's mouth today since we are holding the support level down here at 80.20 there. And we're in the zone to be uh, for SPY. Get past that, then I guess it's something different. Like I said, it's a good support level. Once we lose it, then you start to look at 75.29 chances of that. I don't think this base is gonna work anymore. You could still use this base here. Um, actually, let me see if you can still use this base. You may not be able to use this base anymore. No, you actually can. Is that supposed to show up there? Yeah, it's supposed to show up on the one. Might have to find a new base. May have to. Um, yeah, it might be time. Anyway, I forget about the base and just focus on the levels. Just focus on the level, 80/20. Um, from 80/20, I would look to see if it can't get back above what's that low? 84.17. If it can reclaim back above that, then it's finding a little bit of strength. But otherwise, eh, I stick to my same story. I'll be looking for it to get down and back test that trend line right there. 80-20 it is right now. Major support, major support. Then below that again,